Good boy. Hello, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I'd like to show you records I've picked up in the midsummer here as we're heading toward the beginning of August after this weekend. I have some thoughts on, or maybe recommendations of some places you might investigate buying. Now, we're still seem to be in the pandemic somewhat, to one degree or another, and there's, of course, still some reluctance about getting out and crate digging. But I've got some suggestions about some ways to acquire new music virtually on the internet, so on and so forth, and show you some record store day acquisitions from the July 17th and tell you a little bit about those. And so here we go. First of all, I got 3 records. I did not go to record store day physically, show up at the store. At the way that was worked this year, at 1 p.m. of record store day on Saturday, you could call your local record store and you could purchase stuff on the phone, and that's exactly what I did. I picked up The Windows of the World, Bobby Gentry, and very, very pleased to pick that up. Shrink, I usually tear it off, but lately I've gotten where I don't. Seems like so many people don't. In order to preserve this, of course, I can always cut this out or pull the sticker off and put it on the outer sleeve or something like that, and I may eventually do that. But these records are in a climate-controlled environment, so I don't think there's any fear of the shrink wrap leading to a warped record, anything like this. But anyway, I got this. That's a jazz record on or by Bobby Gentry, one she recorded but was never released, and it is musically it is very, very good. I highly recommend this. However, the vinyl, in my case, left something to be desired. I took it out. It came in this hard, glossy paper inner sleeve, and I took it out, and side one had all these scratches in these hairline scratches in it. Most of them straight, as if it was being pulled in and out of this inner sleeve a lot. Some, though, were little curly scratches. Wasn't happy about that, but I said, well, there were a couple of blemishes on it too. Side one worse than side two. Side two, not so much. And I was concerned, obviously, but I wasn't freaking out over it as long as the vinyl plays well. Unfortunately, side one is full of pops, especially on the last couple of songs on the album. So, quality control at GZ pressing plant in the Czech Republic leaves something to be desired. Here's what our label made to look kind of like a blue note, intentionally made to look kind of like a blue note. So I cleaned this record up really good, put it in. I've got a poly liner inner sleeve inside this paper sleeve. Don't think I'm sticking it back and forth in this unprotected. No, it's in a poly sleeve. But it's I read a little bit about GZ, I believe it's GZ in the Czech Republic, where they pressed this, and it doesn't have many positive reports. A lot of inconsistency, a lot of issues. It wasn't warped, but it had these issues, and it played with a lot of ticks, pops. I reached out to my brick and mortar store, and he is working on seeing if his distributor will give him a credit or refund for this record. I'm hoping they will. I'm not going to leave him holding the bag on this. if he can't get his money back for it, I'm not going to expect him to refund my money or anything like that. But Bobby Gentry, I'd love to get a better copy. I have cleaned this twice, and on the second cleaning, I gave it the extra special treatment. Still didn't correct the issues. So I'm thinking it's a contaminated facility. There's a lot of stuff floating around, maybe fragments from the vinyl and things like that in the air at the pressing plant. And before it can get off the press and it's had time to cool and then placed in the jacket, that either vinyl fragments that have fallen away or that had completely separated from the vinyl when it was actually pressed, or maybe they didn't allow it to cool long enough, or particles, contaminant particles floating around in the air got into this before it got sealed. I don't know. Not happy. Quality control really needs to improve with these pressing things. Okay, what else did I get? Record Store Day. This is an interesting one. Chris Stamey and the Fellow Travelers. And I really like the layout of this album. And it is, Chris Stamey is from the DBs, if you remember. They had, he and Hulse Apple, who's also the DBs, had acoustic versions of some of their old DB stuff in the June Record Store Day. And then this is work he did. I didn't know what to expect. Power pop is the DB specialty. This is a jazz, an easy jazz with vocals like in the tradition of Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, things like that. The Fellow Travelers are a loose grouping of musicians there. They did this during the pandemic, and the proceeds go to the Shalom Project, which is helping the poor in the Winston-Salem, North Carolina area. So a good cause for that, and a very good listener. If you're looking for the DB's power pop, that's not it. But if you enjoy some easy, nice jazz in the American songbook tradition, I guess you'd say. But these are all songs Chris Stamey wrote with that in mind. And so it's really good. And the third I got was an EP from the Backsliders. This is called Rollywood right here. And both the Chris Stamey and this are Record Store Day label releases. And this too went to the Shalom Project. The proceeds went to this. The Backsliders were a 1990s alt country band. Key members Chris Robinson and Steve Howe, I think, would be the names that stood out. Howe wrote all the songs on here, and this is from when they reformed around 2012, I think, and they recorded these. There's 5 songs on here, and really nice. Exactly what you'd expect. It's an alt country record. I like that one too. Okay, so there's Record Store Day. And then the next 8 records I'll show you are records I got from Discogs from a specific seller. And I want to shout out that specific seller. It's called Philadelphia Music. And they have a brick and mortar store called, I forget the name of it, but Philadelphia's Music is what they're known as under Discogs. Okay, their brick and mortar store is just a small facility. I looked them up and checked it out, and it's just a small facility, a small store. What they sell on the internet comes from a separate location, storage warehouse, where they evidently just have bought tons and tons of people's record collections over the years, and maybe bought out old stores and things. I don't know, but they've got tens of thousands of records for sale on Discogs, all at very good prices. check out, if you buy on Discogs, check out Philadelphia Music. They've got maybe 10,000 records for under $5. Their volume, that's their approach here. They're selling volume. Now they're not play grading these records. They're selling for $1.69 and $2.18 and things, kind of odd prices like that. They're visually grading them. And I bought a bunch of records from them. I bought these 9 records, and it cost me less than $40 for 9 records, and one of them was a $7 record. What's playing right now is what I paid $7 for. Other places on Discogs were wanting $9, $10, $12 for this. And I kind of had it on my want list, and I held out. And when I saw that Philadelphia Music was offering it for $7, I said, okay, there we go. I'll pull the trigger on this for $7, and I'll look through these less than $3 records, many of them less than $2 records that are visually graded very good plus, and I'll see if I see something I'm interested in, and I did. And so I'll show you what I got. So this is called David Grossman Dawg Jazz, and that's what's playing right now. And then you flip it over, and it's Dawg Brass. So, different variations of David Grossman's sound using the David Grossman quartet with special guests. This really good stuff on here. On the jazz side, Stefan Grappelli plays with him, among others. And on the bluegrass side, Earl Scruggs is on there. There's Earl. There's Stefan. And so this is a really, really good album. And I played it twice now, and it plays very good plus, just what they said it was. Not all of them play very good plus. They're visually very good plus. If I were visually grading them, I'd grade them at very good plus. And I don't fret when something's a little bit lower than that. When I'm paying, when they're only charging $1.69 for the record or $2.19 for the record, I factor that in. Okay, this will probably as likely be a very good record as a very good plus record, And some of them are, and some of them are very good plus. Another one I picked up is Leo Koki. This is called Dreams and All That Stuff. Kind of an odd cover. And if you're familiar with his guitar work, this is all instrumental, I believe. I've only listened to this once. Came out in '74. Funny cover. But this is good, his guitar work, acoustic guitar work is just amazing and kind of doesn't really fit any easy categories, I would say. And then I got this one from 1977 on Warner Brothers. Kate and Anna McGargle, Dancer with Bruised Knees. And I know nothing about them other than on the Linda Ronstadt documentary. One of Linda Ronstadt's hits was one that they either wrote, and they write much of their songs on here, not every one of them, either wrote or they performed. She got it off one of their albums. And I can't remember which song it was off the top of my head. Somebody watching is probably shouting it out right now. But very quirky album. Two sisters, there they are. And it's not really rock. It's not singer-songwriter, really, although they are writers. It's kind of, maybe today we'd call it world music or something. I don't know, that's kind of a broad term, that doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of traditional in some ways. They do sing in, I think, French on a couple of songs. And it's interesting stuff, put it that way. Just very interesting stuff. Okay, and then I mentioned this group in my 3 bluegrass bands to look out for when you're crate digging. Johnson Mountain Boys, Walls of Time, very good album. On Rounder from, let's see, I've cleaned it, but I haven't listened to this one yet. But good bluegrass, always to be expected from the Johnson Mountain Boys. And then another one of those three bands I recommended, got another album from them because they have a ton of them. The Country Gentleman, and this is Bringing Mary Home from 1966. And this is an excellent album. John Duffy is on this album. Eddie Adcock is on this album. Of course, Charlie Waller, who was always with the Country Gentleman, is on this album. So it's a good lineup for the Country Gentleman and some great music. And Bringing Mary Home is actually based on a ghost story. And it may be found in a lot of different places. I don't know. I know around here, supposedly near Siler City, North Carolina, this is where the Bringing Mary Home story happened. But you may say, oh, they tell that story around here too. But basically, the guy picks up a girl that looks distraught on the side of the road, picks her up. Her name is Mary, and she says, "Can you carry me home?" And he drives her up the road to the house. When he gets to the house, he looks, and Mary's gone. She's not in the car anymore. He goes and knocks on the door, and the middle-aged or older lady opens the door, and she smiles. And he tells what happened, and she said, "Thank you for your kindness. There was a wreck 13 years ago, and Mary died, and you're the 13th person. It was the 13th anniversary of the wreck that night. So you're the 13th person to bring Mary home. Thank you." Woo, woo. Just kind of scary and kind of touching. So I don't know. Tell me, is that a common ghost story that circulates all over, or is that specific to my region? And then I got some acoustic blues, Rory Block, and this is the first one she did on Rounder, I believe. And this is High Heel Blues, very good. She does country blues. What did I say? It's country blues, acoustic blues. She does some wonderful stuff. She does some Robert Johnson tunes. She's got Crossroad Blues on here, Walking Blues, Traveling Blues. She does a wonderful version of The Water is Wide. But, she was raised in Greenwich Village, where her father operated a sandal store. He made sandals, and they played all the time at the store, and she grew up playing there. And the next thing I got, also country blues, is Roy Bookbinder and Traveling Man. There's Roy from 1972. And this one is a review. This is a promo copy, a review copy, not for sale. And this is on Adelphi Records, which I think is out of Maryland or D.C. I know the Nighthawks, the blues rock band, they had an album or two on that label as well. But this is good, and this is one, the jacket condition was not great by any means. It has issues, but I don't play the jacket, so that's another way you can get some stuff at some good prices if you aren't put off by that. And this one played very good. It had a few pops and a few more pops and a little bit of surface noise, more so than some of these records. So it was graded visually very good plus, and looking at it, it looks very good plus. It's really a very good record. It's what I expected. I mean, I paid next to nothing for it. And another of the acoustic guitarists and blues guitarists from 1974, Stefan Grossman. Guitar Instrumentals by Stefan Grossman, and this is on his own Kicking Mule label, and what from 1974, as I said. He learned from Reverend Gary Davis, who was living in Harlem. He was from New York City. I want to say he was from Brooklyn, but I may be Stefan Grossman. I may be wrong on that. And Reverend Gary Davis was living in Harlem, New York City at the time, and he actually influenced her a great deal, and he taught her more. You know, if you're in the New York area during that time in the 60s, the blues players tended to be not your Delta blues players. They tended more often, like Reverend Gary Davis, to be your Piedmont blues players, a different style of playing. And Stefan Grossman studied under Reverend Gary Davis, but he also studied with some of the Mississippi Delta players, and he was an influence with Rory Block as well. In fact, her first album was an album Stefan Grossman and she did together about playing blues. Instructional album, I believe. I'm not positive. I haven't got a copy of it. And that's, I think there's 8 records I showed there that I got from Philadelphia Music. Okay, so I highly recommend them. And then I picked up some records. I'll show you this one first. Haven't even taken this out of the shrink. Haven't even broken the seal on this one. I ordered it 2 days. I ordered it Wednesday and got it Friday. They charged me $7 shipping. I would have taken media mail anytime, but it arrived in 2 days. It only had to come 30 miles, granted, but it got here quick. And that is At Home with Southern Culture on the Skids. This is their pandemic album. They recorded this in home studio mostly during the pandemic, and it's a more easy, laid-back sound than your usual rockabilly, psych rock, garage rock type sound you would get from Southern Culture on the Skids. I've listened to a little bit of it, but not on vinyl yet. And of course, the 3 members there. And of course, it's Rick Miller on guitar doing most of the songwriting, but not all of it, and Mary Huff on the bass. Those two do most of the singing. She's written some of it here, and Dave Hartman on the drums and percussion. So I was really looking forward to cleaning that one up, opening that one up, and playing that one. And then the Steve Hoffman Forum. Oh, before I do that one, I had to get this one in Switzerland, trying to finish out all my vinyl Warren Zevon, and I had to get this one in Switzerland. And it came. I was surprised to see it today when I went to the mailbox. And this is his Transverse City, Warren Zevon Transverse City, one of his later albums. So look forward to putting that one, cleaning that one and putting that on. I always clean my records before I ever spin them. So sometimes it takes me a little while. Those I got from Philadelphia Music, all but the Johnson Mountain Boys I've cleaned. And then the last resource I'll mention Discogs, Philadelphia Music in particular, but also if some of you are probably familiar with the Steve Hoffman forums, music forums. Steve Hoffman is a mastering engineer. He masters a lot and remasters a lot of music, and he has a forum there, and it's got lots of different sections in it. One of the sections are classifieds, where people that participate in the Steve Hoffman forum discussions, threads, can offer some of their records. It's not intended to be a place where brick and mortar sell their records or anything like that. It's informal, and it's people that say, okay, I've already got 2 copies of say Miles Davis, this Miles Davis album. I got the new copy, and it sound I really like it, so I'm going to sell my old copy, things like that. And so and some people sell off their collection gradually that way. Stuff like that, or just a lot of people don't hold on to all their records forever. They'll get them, they'll listen to them for a while, and they say, okay, I think I'm ready. I don't have space in my house for all these records. I'll move these out so I can bring more in. Well, in those forums, the fella had the Avent Brothers for sale, and I don't have any Avent Brothers, either vinyl or CDs, but I have really close friends, and they visited last weekend, and they go see them all the time, or have for years gone to see them, and they really love them, and especially Treva really loves the Avett Brothers, and I asked her about those two albums. She said, "Oh, they'll be good. They don't do vinyl. They Spotify and all that sort of stuff." And so I got these two, and the Avett Brothers, I and Love and You. He wanted, uh, let's see, I think $17 a piece for these two records. Here's the other one. This one's called True Sadness. And these are double records. I didn't realize they were double records at the time. And he said, if you buy them both, and he was including shipping, if you buy them both, $30. I sent him a message. I said, it sat there for a while. Nobody moved on it. I said, I tell you what, I'll buy them both for $25. And he sent me a new message, and he said, how about 27? Good deal. So he's down in Florida, and he shipped me, he's out in Michigan, and he sent me these two. Within 4 or 5 days, they arrived, and I just got them today. Like I said, I got a lot of records today. I was shocked when I went to the mailbox, went to the post office, have to go inside to get anything like that, and had all these records. And finally, from a guy in Florida, on the Steve Hoffman forums, I want to shout out Headley over in England, and Mazzy out in Seattle, who have both, on several of their different VC videos, have talked about the importance of Sandy Denny. And this guy in Florida had this 4-record box set, Sandy Denny, Who Knows Where the Time Goes, a 4-record set including her greatest released and unreleased recordings, live performances, outtakes, and demos from 1967 to 1977. So a 10-year period. And so I gave him $50 for that, shipping and everything. So I'm really looking forward to digging into that. They said if you like or have an interest in British folk and folk rock, Sandy Denny was the female voice in that you should all listen to. So I wasn't really, she was in Fairport Convention, and I'm somewhat familiar with them, but she wasn't in there but for a couple of albums, I believe. So I said, okay, I'm going to get this and find out, what it's all about. Okay, so there's a look at some records that I picked up in the month of July, and some thoughts on some places you might go if this pandemic continues the way it looks like it's trending upwards once again. You may be reluctant to get out in crowds again. So, there's always the internet, the Steve Hoffman forum, the classifieds. You probably have to post, I think you have to post a certain number of thread comments before you can start buying or selling, I believe, not mistaken. So you might have to check those little details out. But a wonderful place if you've got records you want to sell. If you establish yourself there as a legitimate, good faith person, not a commercial dealer or anything, I think you'd be welcome there. And I've never sold anything there, but I've started buying things there, and the grading tends to be much better there because it's fellow listeners, music lover listeners to vinyl that are selling on there. It's not people just flippers or people trying to make a living selling records, things like that. Okay, and then of course on Discogs, you have to be real careful. People tend to overgrade a lot. And I've gotten burned a couple of times that way. But if you're looking to, pick up some records and, maybe, condition is very good, or a little bit better, then the Philadelphia Music has a bunch of records for less than $5, and it's $5 shipping for them, regardless of how many records you buy one or buy 100. And so you can spend $40 and end up with 8, 10, 12 records real easy. And that's what I've done on numerous occasions. All right, this has run extremely long, so people probably won't sit down and watch this whole thing, but maybe a few will. Yeah, but I'm just an old man rambling on, so what the heck, gives me something to do sometimes. Right now what I've got to do is get these records that I haven't cleaned yet, the ones I just got, and get them cleaned so I can start spinning these records. Everybody, remember, be kind to your neighbor, because we're all neighbors. Take care.